Okay, so are we ready? Okay. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Yay! All right. My name's Leanne Randolph, and I'm so excited you are all here. Welcome to the dedication of CARB's Southern California headquarters, the Mary D. Nichols campus. Okay, first a few safety notes. In the event of an emergency, exits are through the gate to the north of the courtyard and through the main entrance to the lobby. So the north of, sorry, Annette, that way. In the event of a fire alarm, we are required to evacuate the area immediately and proceed to the southwest parking lot of the campus via the exterior walkways. And then when the all clear sign is given, we will return to the courtyard and resume the event. So let's take a moment and reflect on the beautiful spot where we are sitting today. We know this land was home to many tribes in the area. They knew it as Hurupa long before John North founded the town he called Riverside in 1870. So I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the many California Native people who made this area their home. When it comes to our mission of promoting and protecting public health, welfare, and ecological resources through effective reduction of air pollutants, as well as leading the fight against climate change, we have a responsibility to continually self-educate, reflect, and listen to the histories of the people in our area. California's history has not been kind to tribes, with each era all responsible for protecting. So thank you for being here on this truly joyous occasion, and I look forward to a wonderful day with you all. And I'd like to give a special thank you to the UC Riverside Jazz Ensemble, who has been setting a beautiful tone for this morning. So we have a wonderful lineup of speakers, as you see here before me. But I'd also like to recognize some other honored guests here with us today. Peter Mueller, the Deputy State Director in Senator Feinstein's office, is here with us. Rafael Elizalde and Tiffany Alvarez from Congressman Mark Takano's office. And a very special thank you to Congressman Takano for honoring Mary Nichols on the floor of the United States House of Representatives ahead of this ceremony. Senator Connie Leyva and Assemblymember Eduardo Garcia, who we are honored to have as ex officio members of the CARB board, are here with us. Assemblymember Sabrina Cervantes, and Dee Dee Myers, Senior Advisor to the Governor and Director of the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development, is also here. I would also like to recognize the members of the family of Dr. Ari Hagen-Smit, CARB's first chairman, and they are joining us today, as well as members of Mary Nichols' family, including her grandson, Billy. We're happy to have you all here today. So this day has been a long time coming. Some of you may have visited our labs and offices in El Monte, and that lab was state-of-the-art for 1973. We have achieved remarkable advances at that lab, from the catalytic converter to the check engine light. Both are now part of every gas-powered car in the nation and much of the world. But by the turn of the last century, in 2000, it was clear that that lab was past its sale date. And yet we persevered. Our technicians, scientists, and engineers continued to innovate and devise new testing and monitoring technologies with remarkable results in that lab. Some of you may recall a case back in 2015 when the dogged detective work of those same technicians, scientists, and engineers discovered illegal defeat devices on certain diesel cars manufactured by Volkswagen. And as we look around this magnificent building, We owe those staff members a debt of gratitude for many reasons. Because when the opportunity for a new lab arose, those same people spent thousands of hours on top of their normal workload developing plans, requirements, and concepts for this new lab. Their goal was to make this the finest, largest, most accurate vehicle emissions technology laboratory for cars, trucks, and buses on the planet, and to make sure it was prepared to handle the new technologies for vehicles and engines that have not yet been designed and built. As the remarkable sculpture by Alora and Calzadilla behind me reminds us, this building and campus, named for a giant of CARB history, Mary D. Nichols, builds on the past, but turns fully to the future. That future presents us with generational and existential challenges. To protect those communities hit hardest with pollution burdens from transportation, we need to accelerate our action on ever cleaner cars and trucks and drive the total transformation of our transportation system to zero emission. It is a beautiful structure with astonishing art that reflects the stature CARB has achieved around the world for its accomplishments on clean air and climate change. But beyond the beauty of this structure, this building is designed to be the springboard and incubator for many more decades of innovative thinking. And that big picture will always be combined with the hard work of science. This is where current and future CARB staff will continue the rigorous, meticulous research and testing that has always provided the scientific and technical underpinning of our work. It's clear from every perspective that this campus is where California's transportation future will be envisioned, measured, and managed. The coming decades present us with challenges no generation has yet faced, but we are certain that the names that grace this campus and auditorium will remind all who work and visit here that the California Air Resources Board has never shied from challenges and has always delivered effective and innovative solutions. So I see this magnificent facility as a monument to hope. And I am confident that here in Riverside, at the Mary D. Nichols campus, we will continue to find solutions for tomorrow to clean our air and fight climate change. And with that, let me introduce our first speaker, Senator Richard Roth, who has played a major role in helping CARB make its new home here in Riverside.
Well, thank you, Chair Randolph, Secretary Blumenfeld, former Chair Nichols, my colleague and very good friend, Senator Connie Leyva, Assembly Members Medina and Cervantes, Supervisor Spiegel, Mayor Locke Dawson, and other very, very distinguished guests. It's an honor to be here with you today. It's a very, very big day for this region and for our state. A state-of-the-art facility for inland Southern California. The first step towards a clean air, clean tech, and clean transportation future for what once was referred to as one of the leading smog capitals in our state and nation. You know, in 1978, seems like a century ago, when I arrived here in Riverside courtesy of the United States Air Force, it was roughly 10 years or so after the official formation of the State Air Resources Board. I was arriving fresh from my latest military post in Okinawa, Japan, where the blue-green water and clear skies were something to behold. I stepped off the plane and was promptly greeted by orange skies and air thick with smog right here in Riverside, California. As old as I am, I think there may be a few of you here who remember those days. What a difference 43 years makes. Inland Southern California has long suffered the cumulative negative impacts of pollution from Los Angeles and Orange County traffic, pushed inland by westerly winds, compounded by the contributions from significant growth in population and warehouse industry congestion right here in our region. And yet, here in Riverside County in 1978, we had nearly 200 days that exceeded the state ozone standards, and in 2020, that was reduced to just 71 days. In 1980, this basin had 153 health advisories for poor air quality. Just compare that to 9 in 2020 and 0 in 2019. Obviously, we have much, much more work to do, but what an amazing result. And you know, we owe all of that to the bold initiatives of the California Air Resources Board and our local South Coast Air Quality Management District. And in honor of this occasion, frankly, I was proud to join the great work of my colleagues and very, very good friends, Assembly members Sabrina Cervantes and Jose Medina, in crafting and presenting a joint resolution of the California State Legislature recognizing the extraordinary work of the California Air Resources Board over the past decades. A resolution which is on display out in the lobby today. So to all of you involved in that extraordinary record of accomplishment, from all of us in the California State Legislature, thank you. The opening of this new Southern California ARB headquarters in Riverside comes at a pivotal time. Our focus is no longer simply on clean air, but how best to deploy technology to combat climate change. This new facility promises to keep California as a leader in those efforts, while making this inland Southern California region an incubator of clean technology and a source of future high-tech jobs. For decades, as noted, the Air Resources Board has dramatically impacted the health of Californians around this state, fighting to ensure that clean air and clear skies are not dependent on the community in which one lives. And I know that we can count on this board to continue that fight for social justice well into the future for all of the rest of us. Finally, a personal note. To all of the members of the historic public-private partnership who worked very, very hard in this community to make this day happen, specifically Cindy and the Greater Riverside Chambers of Commerce and Chancellor Kim Wilcox and his UCR team, thank you. To the Air Resources Board members and staff, past and present, and to the board's leadership team, particularly Mary Nichols, thank you. Thank you for choosing Riverside and inland Southern California for this magnificent facility. We won't let you down. And to all the residents of this amazing community here today, it's a privilege to represent you. Thank you for inviting me.
I'd like now to call on Assemblymember Jose Medina, who represents District 61, including Riverside and the Moreno Valley.
Good morning, buenos dias. Welcome to Riverside, welcome to the inland region of Southern California. I am honored to be a part of the California Air Resource Board dedication ceremony. I'd like to thank CARB for their leadership and their vision. Leanne Randolph, former Chair Mary Nichols, and UCR Chancellor Kim Wilcox. I also want to thank all the workers who built this magnificent building from the ground up. The construction workers, the landscapers, carpenters, electricians, as well as the janitors who will maintain this beautiful building. As the Assembly member representing the cities of Riverside, Moreno Valley, and Paris, and as a longtime resident of this region for over 40 years, I'm very familiar with the challenges that we have faced in this region to ensure our communities can breathe clean air. I'm also familiar with the frontline communities who live near the freeways, rail yards, freight corridors, and warehouses, all of which have been magnets for pollution in our region. Breathing clean air should not be a luxury. It should be a human right for every person in the state of California. Therefore, I am elated that CARB has made the inland region its home. We now have the experts, the innovative technology, and research labs under one roof to ensure that our communities breathe the clean air they so desperately need. We are here today building the pathways to a zero-emission future for the families that need it most, for the thousands of children that suffer from asthma and sometimes cannot go out to play, and for the elderly who live with respiratory diseases. We have a responsibility to address the needs of our communities, and I believe that with CARB's leadership, we will bring that much-needed emissions reduction and clean air that all the people of California deserve. As the chair of the Higher Education Committee for the California Assembly, I am delighted to see the collaboration between CARB and UC Riverside. The possibilities are endless as to how we create a pipeline for UC students to learn from the research that will take place in this building. Additionally, CARB, through its dynamic leadership and commitment to climate resiliency, can also be the driving force to incentivize economic growth. The opportunities are endless in this region. It will take hard work, but we know how to work hard here in the Inland Empire. I know we can build a sustainable green economy that will generate economic prosperity and good jobs for the working families focused on climate resilience. I am confident that CARB will lead boldly. Ultimately, all the children and the people of the state of California, no matter where they live, will breathe clean air. Thank you to all of you, and let's get to work for our communities.
Our next speaker is Karen Spiegel, who represents the 2nd District in Riverside County, including Corona, Norco, and the Jurupa Valley, and is chair of the Riverside County Board of Supervisors.
Thank you, but I also have in my district Eastvale and the western half of Riverside. So we're not in my district here, but Riverside is one mighty force to deal with, believe me. And I love Riverside. So welcome to Riverside County. You know, we are so excited with this dedication, this beautiful new Southern California Air Resources Board facility. How many of you were at the groundbreaking? That's a good number. Quite often you have a drop in the numbers that attend the groundbreaking to the time we get it built. But it was done in a pretty fast time. And so it's good to see all of you, to see that fruition of a project that what was said was going to be delivered was delivered. And in all honesty, our purpose for celebrating is twofold. First, we recognize and appreciate the state, which has made significant investment in our $419 million facility, which will house 460 employees. And of course, Riverside is thinking, okay, they have to eat lunch, they have to do this, they have to get gas, right? Oh, well, until 2000. Okay. I could ask how many are driving a gas car. So it will be for a time until the full transition in 2045 makes, right? Okay, so save me on that one, please. Laughter's good. But this is a huge economic impact on Riverside, not only the city, but the region. And by itself is a win for our entire county. See, the facility contains cutting-edge testing laboratories providing state-of-the-art measurements of vehicle emissions, not gas, fuel, fuel analysis and research into vehicle-related pollutants. You know, great thought went into designing this facility. It promotes collaboration while also contributing to sustainable nature of the campus complex, keeping employee comfort as well as productivity in mind. So not only will the employees be happy working in a new building, but they will also enjoy the amenities located nearby and the lifestyle of our region. I mentioned this facility was designed with collaboration because it's important to recognize that collaboration and partnership is what brought the facility here to Riverside County. The State Air Resources Board, the county, University of Riverside, the City of Riverside, and a big call out for the Greater Riverside Chambers of Commerce, and numerous other partners worked very hard to make this project happen. Our state elected officials played a key role in supporting this project. So thank you to all of you who are part of this collaborative effort and the partnership that brought this facility here. I just want to say thank you. It is the same collaborative effort that will push forward those efforts to make Riverside County a leader. And I know that it was addressed very in depth by Senator Roth, but the leader in clean energy and advanced technology research, development, but also economic growth. We cannot help but recognize that the work being done here at CARB and at UCR, vital economic development efforts that will support inclusive economic growth and workforce development. So thank you to all of you. Congratulations to the CARB team, and once again, welcome to Riverside County.
I'd now like to call on Patricia Locke Dawson, who is the mayor of the city of Riverside and a champion for the Santa Ana River.
Thank you, Ann. Well, good morning and welcome to Riverside, the city, not the county, our beautiful, fair city. I admit I am biased as the mayor, but Riverside is lovely. Do you not agree? I hope you all agree. That's a fact that I get to enjoy regularly at all hours and in all seasons. And case in point, last evening, I was sitting on my front porch watching the sunset over the San Bernardino mountain range, the alpenglow of dusk settling across its face, its purple crags with a golden light. And as I sat there admiring the mountains and the view, I thought to myself, you know, it wasn't always this way. Enjoying such a sunset we now just take for granted. But as a 9-year-old on the playground in the 1970s, I didn't even know where the mountains were. I couldn't see them through the brown air. I did know, however, how difficult it could be to breathe some days. And how much my chest. Have you ever sat in front of a campfire and had the smoke go in your face? Or maybe you shouldn't have done this, but you might have cleaned your bathroom with a little too much bleach or ammonia. You know the feeling of a smog day in Riverside in the 1970s. So we've come a long way. Some of the other speakers have acknowledged this. We've come a long way since the 1970s. And we can now, more often than not, see the mountains, even on the hottest summer days, when the inversion almost guarantees unhealthy air. And we owe that progress to the regulations put in place back then by the California Air Resources Board. Established in 1967, I think the best name ever, the Clean Air Agency. And for that, we are grateful. But we're not safe, not by a long shot, not to be Debbie Downer here. Because unfortunately, too many Riversiders, many of them children, still suffer. Children with already challenging health issues such as asthma are still breathing dirty air, still struggling for breath, and spending time indoors when they should be outside. And an even greater tragedy is that many come from communities of color. And we know studies have shown that people of color are more likely to be exposed to pollution and more likely to suffer harm. And as our economy grows, this injustice will only grow with it, unless we act now, as we are today, not only to reduce emissions, but to regulate them at their source with innovation and collaboration. That's why I'm so pleased. I'm so excited to welcome the California Air Resources Board to Riverside at the center of need, the center of progress, but as you've seen in the building and bringing this facility here, center of collaboration. For besides the stated goals of attaining and maintaining healthy air quality, the Air Resources Board has also been a driver of innovation globally, and it will be for many years to come. So on behalf of myself and the City Council, who's out there, I have all my City Council colleagues that are in the audience out here. Welcome to the City of Riverside, the City of Arts and Innovation. And let me just give you the weather forecast. For today and the future, there are blue skies ahead. Thank you.
So one of the most important aspects of the opportunity to be located here in Riverside is the relationships that we will build with the educational institutions here. And so next, I'm going to introduce our...
I finally hit the trifecta and didn't have a bet down. Precious. Oftentimes we think of the word precious, we think of things that are rare. Precious gems, precious metals, precious moments. But there's another sense of precious. Those are things that we hold dear. And in that regard, I think of the air. Air is ubiquitous. It's not rare. It's everywhere. But it's entirely dear to us. It's arguably the thing that ties us most closely to the universe. We walk on the ground, but we breathe the air into our body, make a deal, exchange some oxygen for carbon dioxide and share it, knowing we'll be back to take a breath later on. It defines us, defines our life. Cognition defines life, the heart rate, pulse defines life. But I remember my grandmother, many of you probably remember your grandmother saying, "Till the last breath I take." She never said, "Till the last lucid thought I had," or "the last time I feel my pulse." The notion is the last breath I take. It literally defines life for us as human beings. So today, to be standing here thinking about that precious commodity and all that has gone on to make it, as you heard, clearer and our relationship, city, county, community members, public, private, is rare. And we appreciate that that is a rare and precious thing in the world today. We see it as ubiquitous. It's around us all the time, every day, and we sometimes take it for granted. But you gave us the chance to reflect once again on how we can do so much when we do things together. So thank you for that. This is a precious moment, but it's just the beginning of a long line of precious moments as we work together to make this the center for in the world for air quality research. It's an exciting time and a great marker. So thanks to everybody, and particularly thanks to the board.
I already broke the rule. Hard to follow Kim Wilcox. Madam Chair, representing the Riverside Community College District, the largest in the Inland Empire and the sixth largest in the state, I bring greetings from more than 60,000 students, the alumni, faculty, and staff of our three colleges. The Board of Trustees and administrators at our institutions are excited beyond description about this day, since we all have been actively engaged in that precious collaboration that Chancellor Wilcox talked about in bringing and convincing the board of the California Air Resource Board to come to Riverside. We know what great potential comes with the opening of these testing and research centers for air quality and climate change. Southern California and ultimately the whole world will benefit from all of the green and clean industries that will surround us. With colleagues from CARB, UCR, the Riverside County of Education, our K-12 district partners, we are connecting educational programs to create pathways from K-12 through post-secondary education. In fact, at our colleges, we already offer programs preparing the workforce for present and future green and clean opportunities. Riverside City College offers a zero-net energy certificate, an automotive hybrid and electrical certificate and associate degree programs. Norco College offers a green technician certificate program. At Moreno Valley College, the firefighter and fire technology programs offered at the Benklar Training Center are essential to California's current efforts to reduce air pollution caused by wildfires. RCCD is securing a trade partners in preparing for the development of new Inland Empire Trade Tech. The center will focus on Earn as you Learn model that will engage all of its students in apprenticeship programs. The new CARB laboratories and the scientific exploration being done here will strongly influence the trade tech programs. As an educator and a scientist with a PhD in chemistry, I'm thrilled with the scientific approach utilized by CARB to solve the air quality and the climate change problem that confront us. As we all know, the World Conference on Climate Change involving over 200 nations has just ended in Glasgow. It is encouraging to know that all nations have come to recognize that climate change is real, with colossal consequences that threatens our very existence. We are truly fortunate and grateful for agencies such as CARB that are devoted to improving our quality of life. Employing science, technology, engineering, and mathematics scholars from our joint institutions will increase our chances of success. It will improve our quality of life and will provide our graduates with more jobs, with job opportunities, and higher earning potential. On behalf of the colleges of the Riverside Community College District, I applaud the California Air Quality Board for completing the construction of this facility and look forward to the work and benefits this will bring to our communities, the great state of California, and our world. Thank you and congratulations.
Good afternoon. I'm proud to serve the Board of Education, students, families, and staff as Superintendent of the Riverside Unified School District. My name is Renee Hill. I'm very honored to be here today and take part in this occasion, not only as a proud citizen of the city of Riverside, but also as a partner and supporter of the California Air Resources Board. All 40,000 of our students in Riverside Unified will benefit by having this beautiful facility in our town. And our students at John W. North High School are especially fortunate. Students at North have already been doing research to work and measure air quality in our community. These multidisciplinary learning experiences for students and teachers help them understand local air quality and health concerns unique to inland Southern California. This and other partnerships, like our work with UCR and others, allow our students to receive STEM learning where they craft innovative solutions to local and global problems. Our students engage in real work, using scientific study to find viable solutions. They do real-time math-related problem-based learning and they do policy study using computer science, digital media, and other tools. And wow, this state-of-the-art facility is just another example of how the California Air Resources Board is truly dedicating to modeling the mission and ensuring that all benefit from their efforts. I'm really glad to be able to claim the bragging rights that our city of Riverside is now home to the largest zero-net structure in the nation. Who knew that zero could be so good? In closing, I leave you with this quote by John F. Kennedy. Let us think of education as the means of developing our greatest abilities, because in each of us, there's a private hope and dream, which fulfilled can be translated into a benefit for everyone and greater strength of the nation. So thank you for translating private hopes and dreams into strengths for this city and for our nation.
Next, it is my honor to present Luis Olmedo, the Executive Director of Comité Cívico de Valle, based in Brawley and serving many environmental justice communities throughout Imperial County.
Well, I think it's afternoon now. So, Madam Chair, you know I'm not really good with 3 minutes, so if I go over, please be patient with me. Let me start with thanking Madam Chair for your leadership in your role as Chair of the California Air Resources Board. I want to thank Richard Corey for always taking my calls. I want to thank all the dignitaries from Riverside and the entire California Air Resources Board for your leadership in making this dream possible. I want to uplift my assembly member, a staunch supporter of disadvantaged and environmental justice communities, Assemblymember Eduardo Garcia, who I call a friend, and please don't hold it against him if he denies that. Mobile sources are the largest contributor of greenhouse gas emissions in California. Almost 40% of the state greenhouse gas emissions come from burning gasoline and diesel. Mobile sources pollution account for 30% of the total PM 2.5 exposures in disadvantaged communities. Mobile sources are also the largest single source of smog precursors and diesel PM10 vehicle or engine. The Riverside Laboratory provides California Air Resources Board staff the tools they will need to continue to research, analyze, and push for lower emission standards and to hold manufacturers to those same standards. Additionally, CARB needs to continue to be a leader in solving the great crisis facing us, climate change. The policies and science-based solutions that come from this new laboratory must address both the global and local negative impacts of climate change. California Air Resources Board new laboratory here in Riverside will make the world a better place, but it should not forget in ensuring clean air here in its own backyard. Here in Riverside County and the Salton Sea represents a challenge for CARB that can take the lead in terms of improving air quality. Issues of environmental injustice and historic inequities for communities in and around the Salton Sea, communities like the East Coachella, Mecca, Oasis, are now much closer to California Air Resources Board. These communities expect greater focus. With the advantage of this new multi-million-dollar laboratory, focus on air quality here in Riverside, we need to make these connections to ensure that these communities are not left behind. The Riverside location must become an innovation hub to work with groups across community-based organizations, research, and others to reduce vehicle emissions in disadvantaged communities, suffering disproportionate impacts from heavy-duty traffic, and that have been slow in changing land use policies. The Salton Sea also presents an opportunity in terms of potential community benefit, and I look forward to working California Air Resources Board and other governmental stakeholders to ensure community resources translate into community empowerment. And now with this great facility, the California Air Resources Board is also that much closer to the California-Mexico border. Environmental justice isn't just a phrase that agencies in Sacramento get to use in brochures and needs to live in places like Riverside, Salton Sea region, and the border region. I stand committed to working with the Air Board to help solve local problems and bring solutions to communities in and around the new facility. From the Salton Sea, Imperial, and the border region, all the way to the ports of Long Beach. As we speak, Comité Cívico, my organization, is providing a training to the California Air Resources Board in Imperial County. We anticipate more of these opportunities like this now, and now that the Air Board facility is closer. Simultaneously, the 617 Steering Committee is also doing a ribbon cutting on their new mobile air monitoring station in the Salton Sea. The location is correct. Air quality gets worse as you get inland. Riverside is impacted by smog and by direct emissions from mobile sources due to the expansion of warehouses and the logistics industry. To understand the problem, it helps to see it firsthand. The region has an exciting new opportunity also to produce domestically here in California in the Salton Sea critical metals that can help transition from dirtier fuels to cleaner fuels such as lithium that are necessary to transition into zero emissions vehicles. In closing, Mary Nichols, your record speaks for itself. You have set an example and set us on a path. Now it's up to us to continue to shape it with equity and environmental justice as our guide. I admired your decisiveness and your ability to lead when faced with considerable adversity. I commend you for the leader that you are and for personally taking my calls and texts and responding to them. Congratulations on this state-of-the-art innovative facility. You helped make a reality, and deservedly carries your name. Congratulations.
Now I have the honor of calling on Jared Blumenfeld, California Secretary for Environmental Protection, who will be introducing Mary Nichols.
First of all, thank you, Leanne. Leanne didn't get the rousing applause at the beginning because she just introduced people, but her speech at the beginning really touched me, and I want to thank her. So I have the fun job of giving an introduction to someone who needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. And the word that, as we were thinking about the word precious, I looked over to the placard and realized that what we're here to do is talk about dedication. This is a dedication, and this dedication really starts from a place of each and every one of you. You are all here for a reason. You are committed to a future that has science, that has education, that has art, the three elements that this building relate to. When you think about pollution, which is really what we're here to combat, those are the three things that every time polluters get in power, they attack. They attack education, they attack science, and they attack the arts. So this is actually a building of resistance. This is about standing up and saying, we care, we're going to fund the things that show empirically how pollution enters the world, and we're going to hold polluters accountable. So if there's a group of people who aren't happy today, it's the people that are polluting the planet. They're looking at this going, oh my God, this entire building, net zero as we heard today, the entire community of Riverside, the legislature, the scientists, the folks that work day in, day out at the Air Resources Board. And I want to pause on that for a second. When you think about the nearly 1,600 people that work at the Air Resources Board, that's larger than probably the rest of the world, the rest of the nation's air regulators combined. So California, this does not happen by accident. We're going to talk about Mary in a second, but this does not happen without intentionality, and each one of you has played an important role in getting us here and in supporting Mary. Like we've heard a lot today about how great it is to live in a state with strong environmental regulations. Those do not come easy. Those do not come easy today. They have not come easy in the past. I get way more phone calls about why we shouldn't be doing something. Why is Leanne and Mary, why are they pushing so hard? Haven't we done enough? They may not have read that another group of scientists, the International Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, recently described the situation that we're in as humanity as code red. It really is a time where if we don't rely on science, if we don't rely on public policy, if we don't push to do everything we can in California, the rest of the world will not. Mary was just in Glasgow. I accompanied her. We were there together. The world is watching to see what California does. And this commitment today in science, in applied science, in research, is about our dedication to combating inequality, to combating pollution, and to showing the world where we can go. And it's no accident. Mary didn't donate $100 million to get her name on this building, right? She isn't a Nobel laureate in science, and she didn't die. Those are normally the three reasons that someone gets a building named after them. What she did was as an attorney, use science as a tool to fight for communities, use science as a tool to hold companies accountable. It's no accident that it was the Air Resources Board and scientists that are going to occupy this building that uncovered the VW scandal. Why was it not the European Union? Why was it not Germany? It's because they hadn't made that investment in accountability and enforcement and in science that is being made here today. When we think about the glass ceilings that are broken today, sometimes we forget the glass ceilings that were broken in order to get here. And Mary Nichols has broke every glass ceiling there has been in front of her, not in an effort of self-glorification. She's actually incredibly humble when it comes to her accomplishments. It's been in pursuit of making sure that we leave California and the world a better place than we found it. And that really is a combination of all those things: education, art. Mary is talking about, hopefully all of you get to see the fossilized gas station behind us. That may convince a small child when they come here more than any of the science. The art may be the thing that does it. Or it may be the education from the local school district that comes and learns about, wow, this is what people get to do. But it took dedication. And Mary's pursuit of justice in a way that is incredibly courageous takes every single day saying, no, we actually need to do more than you're thinking of doing. And the pushback from many of the people that are in this audience and even on the stage sometimes is incredible. And Mary's like, no, this is what we need to do. So this building and its really, really important name, Mary D. Nichols, means something for each and every one of us. We can't just continue here and say we had a great morning and afternoon in Riverside and how fabulous it was. We have to leave this knowing that we need to do more, knowing that if Mary was picking up the phone to tell us something, it's need to keep going. So thank God for all of us. Mary is keeping on going, and it's a great, great pleasure and honor for me to introduce, with you standing ovation, Mary D. Nichols. Last time we did this. Yeah, there we go.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please be seated. In a few minutes, we're actually going to be cutting the symbolic ribbon, I believe, to officially open this building. It is pretty awesome to see one's name on a building, I got to tell you. Jared talked about me being humble, which I think is not true. But I will say this, that I intend to come by and take a look every once in a while. And if by any chance there's like any graffiti or any tarnish on that sign, I'm going to be after it, because this building is precious, as Chancellor Wilcox reminded us. It's an amazing example of what happens when people come together around a good cause. And this building has been blessed from its very inception. Again, to perhaps build on what others have already said, but I was around. I was actually a young member of the Air Resources Board when Jerry Brown did the dedication of the Hagenschmidt Laboratory in El Monte, California. And that building in its day was, in fact, state of the art. It was unique, and it was a very fine building, but it grew old, and we outgrew it, and the mission outgrew that building as well. And for years, people wanted to try to upgrade or expand and looked for ways to do that. I don't think anybody really dreamed that we would be able to acquire and build anything like this facility. But when I came back onto the Air Resources Board under Governor Schwarzenegger and mentioned this to him, he, being the person of grand vision that he was willing to let us start the process. And we did get support from the Department of Finance, which did agree that the old building really had outlived its useful life and that there was not any way on that site that we could fix it. And so began the process of looking for a site and then coming up with innovative ways to finance and build something that, you know, if you ask people, what do you think a state laboratory would look like, I don't think anybody would have dreamed that we would have a building that was this beautiful, this carefully created for the welfare of the people who work in it, as well as the visitors who will come here from all over the world, for the board members who will have meetings here, and for everybody in the state of California or beyond, but certainly of Californians to feel proud of as an example of what can be done. The architects, the engineers, the people who were responsible for making this a zero net energy building, people gave this their all, and they worked through the pandemic. They came to work and kept on working, sometimes under challenging weather conditions. One thing that never flagged was the support from the legislature. And I don't know how many of you have ever worked on a project where you required regular infusions of money from legislators, but I can say from my own experience that the fact that we had just constant support was truly remarkable, and we really owe a lot to the legislators who kept that mission alive. So I want to especially call them out today. Their support not only reflects the community where this building exists, which has always been the epicenter of the battle against smog. Really, it's been known from the time I moved to California in 1971. Riverside, in fact, the first public interest case I brought as a brand new clean air lawyer is called City of Riverside versus Ruckelshaus. Mr. Ruckelshaus having then been the head of the Environmental Protection Agency, and we won that case, by the way, I'm very proud to say. But the politics of this issue go beyond just Riverside. I can tell you so many stories about governors and senators who have fought for California's right to set stricter air quality standards. And when I was in Glasgow just a week ago today, and EPA Administrator Michael Regan was talking about all the good stuff that the Biden administration is now doing on climate, the first thing he said was, we gave California back their waiver. And they did. So our mission goes way beyond the local community, although it has to be centered in this place, as we have been reminded. It really is a world mission. And it has been blessed at every step with the talent and imagination and the resources to make it succeed. So you all have no excuse. It's onward and upward, and continue with the success from year to year. And I'll be out to polish that brass nameplate just in case. Thank you all very much.
Okay, I have to do some quick thank yous before we do our really cool ribbon cutting. So I'm gonna just thank those of you who spent so much time preparing for this day. Patty Brown, Natalie Castaneda, and Margaret Sanchez in the CARB Office of Communications. Jill Barber at CSERT, combining those two. And Cindy Roth at the Riverside Chamber of Commerce, who's just been amazing through all of this. Jake Orta and Margie Helpt from the City of Riverside, Rob Moran from the County of Riverside, and Kathy Eiler from UC Riverside. Board members Sandy Berg and Barbara Reardon, and the many volunteers who assisted with check-in tours and more. And very special thanks to a few folks who are going to be joining us for the ribbon cutting. Deputy Executive Officer Annette Hebert, where are you? Who oversees this entire facility. She has been side by side with staff through every step of the design, construction, and dedication of the new headquarters. Thank you to Edna Murphy, Deputy Executive Officer for Internal Operations. And finally, of course, to Richard Corey, the Executive Officer who has ably guided this process. Thank you. So, Edna, Richard, and Annette, I want you to join Mary and I.
Are they not using this anymore?
I'm not sure. I wanted to take that on them. Hang on. We need to get all the board members up on stage.
Okay, let me, yeah, okay.
Okay, so, all right. Can we have our sound back? Sound is on. Oh, there it is! Yay! Okay, so we're going to be taking photographs and everything. It's like just like a wedding, right? So, kind of hang in the courtyard, and there will be tours. And where should they go for tours? Right back there to go to tours, and we'll have some light refreshments while you wait your turn for tours. And so, for those of you who need to take the shuttles back, those will depart at noon. So. Thank you all for coming and supporting CARB, and enjoy the refreshments and the gathering and our beautiful Mary D. Nichols campus.